Welcome to this special edition of Hannity, Clinton Corruption, the Lynch Clinton Scandal. I'm Eric Bowling in for Sean tonight. After igniting a political firestorm by meeting with Bill Clinton while the FBI investigates Hillary Clinton's email server scandal, Attorney General Loretta Lynch is now trying to assure Americans that the criminal probe will be fair and impartial. Take a look.
As I've always indicated, the matter is being handled by career agents and investigators with the Department of Justice. They will make recommendations as to how to resolve what those facts lead to. The recommendations will be reviewed by career supervisors in the Department of Justice and in the FBI, and by the FBI director. And then, as is the common process, they present it to me, and I fully expect to accept their recommendations.
You're on your plane, and in walks the former President of the United States. What were you thinking at that moment?
Well, as I've said, you know, he said hello, and we basically said hello, and I congratulated him on his grandchildren, as people tend to do. I may have viewed it in a certain light, but the issue is how does it impact the work that I do and the work that the Department of Justice does. And I certainly wouldn't do it again.
And last night on Fox News, the reporter who broke this story, ABC 15's Christopher Sine, dropped this bombshell about the Clinton-Lynch tarmac meeting. Take a look.
They then make the decision, they meaning the president's team, former president's team, they wait for her to land. She arrives, some people step off of her plane, the former president steps into her plane. They then speak for 30 minutes privately. The FBI there on the tarmac instructing everybody around, no photos, no pictures, no cell phones. He then gets off the plane, gets on his own plane. He departs. She continues on with her planned visit.
Here now with reaction are the Chief Counsel of the American Center for Law and Justice, Jay Sekulow, the President of Judicial Watch, Tom Fitton, and my fellow co-host of The Five, Kimberly Guilfoyle. Jay, sounds like she's a little complicit in this. If you listen to the left or you listen to her, she's an innocent bystander. Oh, yeah, we crossed paths. Did they cross paths innocently?
Well, no, they didn't. First of all, this was not like they ran into each other in the FBO or in the terminal. This was someone had an intentional meeting, and at the end of the day, no matter how that meeting was arranged, the Attorney General of the United States, who's the chief law enforcement officer, who's investigating criminally Hillary Clinton. Bill Clinton could well be a witness, if not a defendant himself. She allows the former president of the United States on her aircraft. How that was arranged, irrelevant. It reeks of impropriety. The Attorney General today trying to basically talk her way out of what is clearly a breach of trust to the American people, an unethical action on behalf of the Attorney General, and laughing about it that they were talking about grandchildren. This is not funny. This is the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of the United States. She's violating the internal rules of professional conduct within the Department of Justice. Look, I was a government lawyer. I understand the rules. She understands the rules. She violated them.
KG, Jay points out it reeks of impropriety, but the legal standard backs him up. It says the legal standard being to disqualify a party in a case, not just impropriety itself, but the appearance of impropriety, right?
Yeah, so that's a very low threshold when you think about it. And this is significant because it does show that there was some contemplation. There was a meeting of the mind, so to speak. It wasn't a quick, casual, how are the grandkids these days? You know, I guess a little bit more of a substantial conversation. She refers to it as primarily about family stuff and grandkids. But, I mean, she should know better. He certainly knows better, and this is part of the deal, you know, with the Clintons. They have this way of exerting their influence, whether it's through a conversation like that, a face-to-face. I mean, Bill Clinton is certainly someone who could be also called in this investigation, since the back half of the investigation against Hillary Clinton is about the improprieties of the global Clinton Foundation, money accepted from other countries, etc. So this is very improper. It's not just about his wife's email server, because this is a two-pronged investigation, and he's certainly a part of it.
You want to know, they want transparency. Hillary has a lack of transparency. I'll give you some transparency. They believe they're above the law. They're always doing this type of thing. Hey, Tom. Yep. Is this part, did Loretta Lynch say that she's going to come out and well, she didn't exactly say she will absolutely, definitely take the FBI recommendation. She said she would fully expect to take it. However, she says she will. The timing of it. Did she do this because we're hearing reports that the FBI agents on this case are furious?
Well, they ought to be furious because she made fools of them all, that this witness and potential subject of an investigation just bypassed the whole system and met with the boss, the one making the decision in the end. By her own admission, she's still going to make the decision in the end as to whether to accept. She says she'll fully expect to accept it, but that's no guarantee. And frankly, I wouldn't expect her to guarantee a certain result without knowing what the facts are going to be. Look, she blew up this investigation, and I don't really know how to fix it, but she blew it up, and there's got to be consequences. That's why we asked for an IG investigation. Eric, we had testimony this week from Yuma Abedin, Mrs. Clinton's top aide, one of her top aides at the State Department. She said she called up Justin Cooper, Bill Clinton's employee, to get her email address on the Clinton email server that was set up by Bill Clinton's employee. The email server supposedly was in Bill Clinton's home, in his basement. And this man is meeting with the Attorney General.
Right.
This Justice Department, by the way, is a disaster. They've been in court, by the way, defending the Hillary Clinton's use of this email system, while prosecutors supposedly are criminally investigating it.
Jay, talk to us about this theory or this feeling that, oh, you know, it was just a meeting. It's called ear-wriggling or a pat in the back. James over here describes it. Hey, it's almost like the Sopranos style of, oh, let's just meet for a minute, talk about the kids with a wink.
Right.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, first of all, I think this whole thing's a faux investigation. I mean, at the end of the day, not that the FBI is not trying to do their job, and James Comey trying to do their job, but what the Attorney General did today, or this week, was sabotage that investigation, exactly what Tom and Kim said. It sabotaged it. That's number one. Number two, it's the Ministry of Presence. Bill Clinton's presence on that aircraft, a government aircraft controlled by the United States of America, sends a signal. They may have talked about their kids or his golf game. It does not matter. It's his conduct, not what his heart was, not what her heart was, not her emotions, how she felt about her grandchildren. Doesn't matter. She is the chief law enforcement officer of the United States, and she allows on that aircraft, has a staff lead purportedly, and has a conversations with someone that is, if not is, a direct target of this investigation. Eric, let me take it one step further. She needs to go. She certainly should have recused herself. She did not. She should then resign. If she doesn't, the president should fire her.
Well, let's talk
this
to KG.
is the Attorney General of the United States. She's not acting like an attorney or a general, frankly.
President Clinton appointed Loretta Lynch. Should he fire her?
Well, yeah, right, I'm sure. It seems like he was definitely sending a shot across the bow, a face-to-face Clinton style to exert influence. But listen, this isn't even a close call for me. She should recuse herself, and I say this as a former officer of the court. I'm a former prosecutor, and I'll tell you, if we ever had the audacity to try and have an ex parte communication with a judge or a member of a jury, you would be in huge trouble. It is highly improper. It's not a close call. She knows better. He knows better as an attorney. And there's already some impropriety in the fact that he has appointed her before, and yet she's supposed to impartially investigate not only his wife, but his foundation. I mean, come on. He's certainly the subject that they would want to talk to as well as this proceeds forward. That's why the FBI is furious.
Hey, Tom, I only have a few seconds here. Tell us about the timing of Loretta Lynch's statement. Friday before a long weekend, they tend to do these things because they know the news cycle kind of gets buried with the weekend news, with the holiday.
4th of July.
I mean, it's an attempt to squelch the story, and it's not going to work. You know, one of the reasons we have these rules is to prevent this situation from occurring, this blowing up of the investigation.
Exactly.
Arguably, you know, this woman now is a witness in the case.
Yeah,
That's why you shouldn't have violated the rule to begin with.
I'd move to recuse her from the case if I was the defense lawyers, frankly. I mean, one other thing, Eric. If Kim did this, Tom did it, or I did it, we could be disbarred.
Hello, everyone. This is Glop. I'm your host, Derek. You just got to see the interview first. I felt like I needed you to actually see and hear what I saw and what I was looking at. And it's not just, you know, Fox News is talking about it. It's other media is talking about it. Everybody wants to be surprised by the Clintons. I'm not surprised by the Clintons. The reason why is that when Bill Clinton was president, anyone that went up against the Clintons typically disappeared or alleged suicide and ended up dying. I have no doubts that the Clintons, Bill Clinton didn't get on that plane and threaten the judicial leader. The fact is that she does need to step down. What she's been doing has been unethical, again, a lot of the stuff that she's been pushing has been unconstitutional. And this has been the most corrupt judicial system that we've had, I believe, ever. I believe that, you know, go back to Nixon during the Watergate crazy situation. Or even if you look at Bill Clinton and his infidelity acts whenever he was president and then he was impeached. This administration has been... take a look. Okay, the president comes from Chicago. Chicago is notorious for having corrupt politicians. And just to say, he's come with that same mentality, that same acting of... It's just hard to even put into words the crazy stuff that we're seeing in America today. Everything is just like it's falling apart. This lady here is laughing at every American, and every American is actually backing her. Then you know you're backing a traitor? Do you know you're backing someone that doesn't care about you? Do you know you're backing someone that doesn't give a rip for how you live your life other than what's going to be pleasing to her? And to you, you're nothing but a ant. And if you get in her way, she will swat you and get rid of you and never bat an eye. Because you take a look at those soldiers that got killed in Benghazi. And that should tell you exactly the mentality. How is our armed forces are expected to, if she becomes president, respect her decisions? If she makes orders for them to go do something, but she would rather treat them like cannon fighter and just destroy them and not care anything about them. That's the person we're dealing with. They're corrupt. They're evil. She's literally a witch. There's no doubt that she doesn't practice witchcraft. She's evil. And every person that has a conscience or a soul should stand up and say, enough's enough of this corrupt system. And for those of you, you need to turn back to Jesus. You really do. And repent of your sins. Because it's going to get worse, people. A lot worse. What they're letting you see now is what they want us to see. We don't even see what's behind closed doors. Prime example, no one can take pictures when Bill Clinton gets on a federal plane to speak to someone that's over the case involving his wife and possibly his own corruption. We need to stand up. We need to speak out. Please pay attention to your surroundings. You never know what lies in the corner.